Hello, we're live. My name is Jamie J. I'm the host here at Live with Bottleneck, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business and your life. And I'm really excited to have Gabe Nelson on. He wrote a new book, and we're going to be talking about that today. So stay tuned as we're come back with you live in this special edition of Live with Bottleneck. We'll be right back in 38 seconds. Hello, my name is Jamie J. I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, also the host of Live with Bottleneck, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business and your life. And we get to talk to amazing people. And today I'm really excited to talk with a good friend of mine, Gabe Nelson. And Gabe Nelson is the president of Gabe Nelson Financial. He's also the author of the Solopreneur's Money Manifesto. Today, if you're watching this live, is Thursday, March 10th. It's 10 a.m. Central. That's why you see a special version of Live with Bottleneck today, because we normally do it every Wednesday at 2 p.m., but I couldn't wait to get the news out. I really love what Gabe is all about and what he does, so I wanted to share this with you. And why can Gabe help you stop the bottleneck in your business? With almost 3 decades in the financial services industry and more than a decade as an independent small business owner, Gabe Nelson already had an established, thriving practice and a solid reputation in his industry when he recognized an interesting trend among some of his favorite clients. More and more, he found himself working with self-employed professionals and solopreneurs. And as a business owner himself, he's fired up about helping them navigate the unique challenges they were facing because he was just like them. So he understood that independent professionals have specific needs, and most financial advisors don't know exactly what it takes to transition from employee to independent contractor status or establish long-term financial security without relying on a regular paycheck. He also knew that with more of the workforce becoming self-employed every day, more people could benefit from working with an advisor who knows how to plan for the whole financial picture, including legal, estate, financial, retirement, life, disability, and of course more, with an entrepreneurial spirit. So he took his passion for providing a personal touch with hands-on problem solving and solution-oriented comprehensive planning and decided to focus on serving solo entrepreneurs. Gabe is a best-selling author of the Solopreneur's Money Manifesto, How to Master Your Finances and Create the Life You Want, and hosts the popular podcast, Solopreneur Money. Read Gabe's book, The Solopreneur's Money Manifesto. So without any further ado, please allow me to introduce you to the one and only Gabe Nelson. How are you, sir?
I am great, Jamie. Thank you. I noticed a couple things. One, that was a pretty good little bio that got put together for me. And two, I have hair then, so I got to update my picture.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations on your book. Fantastic. What an accomplishment. You have accomplished so many things, but I wonder if maybe you can introduce yourself to the audience. I know you've been here before, but maybe what have you been up to and how's everything going for you?
Ooh, well, all kinds of stuff. Things are great. But since I was on the show last, the podcast has continued to grow. We have basically brought out a book, as you had said, and because we met in 2020, I believe it was, and I was on the show right away, right when I had started my podcast, and here we are working on almost 2 years of my podcast being in place, which is pretty fun. And the whole idea of a book never even was on my radar until the whole pandemic came in, and I was just like, all right. If I'm going to write a book, I've got time. I'm not chasing my kids all over the place for activities and soccer tournaments and things like that. And so I basically was like, well, I might as well start working on this. And other than that, I mean, it's been it's been a great, basically kind of like a great recovery from all of the trauma of the pandemic hitting. Business really cranked back up for a lot of people, which usually always helps us financial guys, and the economy came back, and so things are really really been really good. And we've got a few interesting things going on in the world now that's causing some more drama, we'll say. But other than that, things are great. Absolutely, just great.
Well, I want to say congratulations again. I'm super excited for you. So having this never kind of unprecedented kind of thing that happened the last 2 years. I mean, it's described as so many different. I think we're still figuring it out. But the nice thing is, I think we're kind of coming out on the other side. I took advantage of it, and I know a lot of other people did. And it was a time to get really creative. And so you took that time to write a book. I wrote a book too, and I understand it is not an easy journey. The reason I started writing the book kind of changed though as I went through it. Did any of that happen with you? I mean, did you just, I guess I can ask, why did you write the book? And is that same why still true today?
Well, the reason I wrote the book is I noticed here about 3 or 4 years ago, like in my bio, I started really just enjoying more and more working with people that what I would call solopreneurs. But what I noticed in my clientele is I noticed a lot more people doing the Great Resignation prior to it being called the Great Resignation. And so I saw it coming. And honestly, I don't know how I saw it coming. I just did from working with my clients and realized that was where the fun was. And I thought, well, if there's going to be a whole lot of people making this change to go on their own, I want to have a book out there that someone could pick up and go, all right, well, if I'm going to do this myself, here's a great how-to guide on how to go through and master my finances for a solopreneur. But if not, and they don't want to do it themselves, now they've got somebody that has shown them the way that can go, all right, here's who I could go see and see if this person can help me. So I did it to educate people, to share the knowledge and to share the wealth of knowledge I've gained over the last nearly 30 years. But I also did it a little selfishly, like, hey, if the right person comes along, it'd be a fantastic client, which will be a great experience for me to help them master their finances, take that load off of their shoulders, and they can go out and live their lives. And so there was two reasons: to share the knowledge and to grow the business a little bit more. Mhm.
I love that. I think that's perfect way to do it because you're really investing a lot of time and energy into your book, right?
Mhm.
So another question is, what did you do before you had your own business?
Well, I started right out of college, right in the insurance and financial services business. And so I basically came right into the what I would call the working world, literally self-employed. I mean, we were commission based, had to have a little office, had to, eventually staff the place and do everything. And it was all based upon my production. And then I've morphed, I tried to go into management. I thought I wanted to be this great manager and this great leader of other, insurance and financial services people. And I found out I suck as a manager, in simple terms. And so that was with a big insurance and financial services company. And then I was just in 2008, it was like, it's time to just go start my own firm, and be completely on my own. And so that was the beginning of my real entrepreneurial journey, where when you're with a big company, you're entrepreneurial and you got to go out and find your clients, and you got to grow your business and do the things that you need to do. But you don't have to make the decision on the tech stack. You don't have to make the decision on the office lease most of the time. There's a lot of things you don't have to decide. When you go on your own, you got to decide absolutely everything, and then it affects everything with your business and your life. So
I couldn't agree more. And I did have a reason for asking that question because this is showing that you have experience making that transition. And so the book is worth its metal just in that alone, because you're sharing your experiences. Is there anything that you've learned throughout your experience that you wish you would have known when you first went out on your own?
Oh, Yeah, probably the biggest thing that I learned was slow down. I mean, I am like a hard charging, go a million miles an hour type of person, and slow down and enjoy it a little bit along the way. That's something I wish I would have done. I have a fantastic life. I'm not going to complain about anything, but I know that I worked like crazy in the beginning to build the business, which was important, but also for those entrepreneurs that are listening and solopreneurs that are listening, we did this change because we wanted to create the life that we wanted, and we made this change because we wanted to do things our way. And we have a tendency to sometimes have our life support our business rather than our business support our lives. And so what I would say to someone new that I wish I would have done was design the business to support my life versus the other way around in the beginning.
What's one or two things you can share by way of example of designing a better life?
Well, the first thing is we have a tendency in the very beginning when we start a business to take any client that comes our way. Start to understand really what your numbers are before you start to bring clients on. Because, in the insurance and financial services industry, how I got started, now I'm being straight all financial advisory work, is if you fogged a mirror, I was going to talk to you. I mean, literally going to talk to you. That didn't mean it was going to be a profitable venture. It wasn't going to be where the finances were going to come into play. But we have a tendency in the beginning to take anything we can get. And so what I would urge anyone listening is take the time to understand your numbers, create your ideal client, and take and go after that ideal client so that when you do bring a client on, it's worth your time, so that you don't get into the problem that a lot of small business owners get is, I need business, I got to get going. Oh, and by the way, my expenses are more than my revenues. So now I'm going to go backwards. And that makes a terrible business. And the other thing it does is it makes not a very fun home life if, you're the one bringing all the money home. It's hard.
Yeah, it is tough, and I think life by design um, is definitely the way to go. And quite frankly, Gabe, I think, and we've probably talked about this before, but I don't believe in life work balance or work life balance. I just believe in life balance. And for me anyways, there's a big difference and a big shift in my own mind. And that's why I say that. So it resonates with me. Whether or not that resonates with others, I don't know. But for me, I really try and do that. And wherever I'm at, I'm intentional. I'm there. I'm and when I'm not, you can see we can read human beings pretty easily, and we know whether or not we're engaged. Like yeah, we're typing, you can
Uh-huh.
always see what's going on a little bit there, and it's just not fair to either party in those situations. So I agree. I know this is kind of a little side shoot there, but I think it's really important to figure out what you want to do. Now, with regards to what some of the things that I wish I would have known is,
Mhm.
I wish I'd have known for my LLC that I could have elected as an S corp for tax purposes, and all that stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff, and of course, I'm not an accountant or anything like that. I'm definitely afraid of numbers, but it's little things like that wow, this is the stuff that you get to learn along the way. Um, anything other than kind of where you're positioning yourself, mindset, maybe setting up company, or planning for, okay, what are you going to do with your income or anything like that when you first start up?
Well, the biggest thing that we have to remember when we do go for the startup side, all right, if you're making a change from another company, a company, your employer, you're going to go and start your own firm, whatever capacity that is, the things that you need to be thinking about is, and I said a little bit ago, is make sure you're charging the right amount of money so that you are actually profitable. When you're profitable, then things start to come into play. Remember, you don't have a retirement plan when you go and start your own company. And a lot of entrepreneurs wait to do that. And so, what I would say is start to build it in so that you can keep planning for your retirement so that you have control of when you're going to retire rather than, hey, I'm going to have to sell this business, or I'm going to have to work longer, or I'm going to have to do other things to be able to retire on my terms. And so, start the retirement plan, get that going. Even if it's $100 a month, just get started. It's amazing how you then can start to get yourself set up for the future, because the whole idea is that I refer a lot to is it's really easy to get into business. It's not as easy to get out. And
Mhm.
that's a challenge. And so you need to begin with the end in mind, which is a little bit of a mindset piece, but that's a planning piece for those people who are starting their company, because believe me, that's a hard thing to do, is to get out of business. It sounds really weird, but it's hard to get out of business and to do it right.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. It's super easy to start. It's really hard if you want to transition or even make tweaks. Um,
Mhm.
so th- that's a really good point. At what point in the process of a solopreneur entrepreneur, um, no matter I guessing no matter where they're at financially or throughout their journey, at what point do they approach you?
They generally approach me when they have a problem. Now, they have to have a certain number of revenues, et cetera, for it to be, easy for them to pay the fees. I mean, because I don't do this for free. No one works for
No
free.
one works for free.
No one works for free. And so there's a value that has to exchange. Um, but generally what happens is things start to get complex, and then they wake up in the morning and go, all right, I have this problem and I need to fix this problem, because nobody goes to bed at night and gets up the next morning and goes, it's time to call a financial advisor. I'm going to call an advisor today. No, it doesn't work that way. People reach out to us because they have a problem. And so those problems have a tendency to be, man, I've got this great business, but I'm not saving any money, or I'm not planning for retirement, and I'm getting worried. Am I going to be able to retire someday? Or I am getting killed on taxes. I can go to my accountant and ask about taxes. And I refer tons of people to CPAs, but financial advisors that focus in certain areas, like myself in the solopreneur world, I'm almost as dangerous as a CPA. And what I mean by that is I know a lot of things they can do to reduce their taxes, and then how the financial planning works to bring it all together so that someone, when they start really having that problem of paying too much in taxes, they're like, okay, what can we do to fix that? And I work with CPAs, my client CPAs, as well as my own, to design the plan so that when they are having those problems, we fix those problems. We get money set aside for retirement. We figure out ways to reduce their taxes. There's all kinds of things that we bring in. And so those are usually the things. We're starting to notice problems. We're starting to pay too much in taxes, and we're starting to realize, wait a second, we haven't done any planning. We need to get ourselves on the right track to be able to retire someday, or to enjoy what we built up in that business.
So will your book help people get there to kind of get them started?
Yes, the book is literally a how-to book. And the beginning of the book talks about something as simple as a life wheel, like literally taking the time to think about what your priorities are, and then use the finances to support those priorities, to make sure that you're actually being the type of person you want to be, be the mom you want to be the dad you want to be the husband you want to be, the spouse, the sister, the brother, whatever it might be. It allows you to really think about what's really important, and then how to build the finances to get you there.
So the next question is, how do people get in touch with you, and how do they get the book?
Well, the easiest way to get a hold of me is to go to my website, gabenelsonfinancial.com. That's quick, easy place to get to me. To find my book, easiest is go to Amazon. Go to Amazon and type in The Solopreneur's Money Manifesto, and you will be able to get it via Kindle and paperback and hardcover. You'll be able to get.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know I want to be respectful of your time,
Mhm.
but what would you like to say before we wrap today?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is thank you. Thanks for letting me be on your show, man. I really appreciate this. It's fun to get out and talk about, but it's fun to continue to foster relationships. From the side of my book, it's literally a how-to guide. I mean, you could actually take the book, follow along, and do it yourself. If you get to the end of the book and you're like, man, I'm way too busy, or I don't trust myself, or I just don't want to do it, then reach out to me. We'll see if it's going to make sense for us to work together.
I love it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Gabe, do you have just a moment, and I'll go ahead and wrap up for you?
Nope, not a problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hold on
Mhm.
one second there. All right. Gabe Nelson, I promise you, please go out and get this book. Please, 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 please. There's so many things. And I have to tell you one thing really, really quick. And this is a personal story. I was so afraid because my books, my company on the financial side was in such disarray that I wish I had known Gabe at the time. This was about 5 years ago. And a good friend of mine said, you know what? Don't worry, we'll get all this figured out. He didn't look at me and go, this is freaking terrible. Oh, your finances are a mess. It's all unorganized. I mean, it was bad. It was like it was, imagine cobwebs on your books, right? That was what we were looking at. So I cannot recommend enough, no matter what position you're in, where you're at on your journey, reach out, go get this book. Whether you think you're there, whether you might not be thinking about it so much, it's so important, because by the time you run into a problem or a challenge, you're already behind the 8 ball. And the last thing you need is to create additional stress for yourself. So go out, get Gabe's book, and that's called the Solopreneur's Money Manifesto. Go to Amazon. Also go to his website, Gabe Nelson Financial. You can find it there as well. Get his book, read through that book, and reach out to Gabe. I promise you, it will not hurt you one bit. And the amount of information that you'll gain from Gabe's knowledge is insane. So highly, highly, highly encourage you to do that. If there's one thing you do today that you need to improve your personal and or professional life, do it. Just do it. Be crazy. If you enjoyed today's episode, learn how you can break through the bottleneck in your business today by going to bottleneck.online/BTV. Also, pretty excited about my own book there, Quit Repeating Yourself. And this is where how today's leaders are using systems and processes to grow their business the right way. I talk about culture, systems, processes, recruiting, hiring, and all of that. It's a really quick read. If you're looking to grow your business, this is a great tool for you to use. Again, today we were talking with Gabe Nelson, President Gabe Nelson Financial Inc., about the Solopreneur's Money Manifesto. Previously, I spoke with Jordan Ross. He's the CEO of 8-Figure Agency. We talked about how to 10 times the right way. Of course, we talked about systems, processes, management, and culture. If you missed that one, go check it out. It was really good. And coming soon to your earbuds, I'm going to be talking with Steve Cesari. He's the owner-president of the Cesari Companies. The 5 F's to finding fulfillment. That's coming up Wednesday, March 16th at 2 p.m. Central. That's going to be a fantastic conversation. I'd like to invite you to join us then. Thank you again to Mr. Gabe Nelson. It's been fantastic connecting with you again. He's the president of Gabe Nelson Financial. Please go buy his book, Solopreneur's Money Manifesto, and you can go learn more about him by visiting GabeNelsonFinancial.com. Thank you so much for tuning in on this special edition of Live with Bottleneck. Hope you have a fantastic day, and don't forget, create your own ripple. We'll talk to you soon.